with some very serious subject matter that is a reality for many people, and is a very complex array of themes and subject matter. And so we don't want it to be all like dark and spooky all the time, because that's not life, right? It's very complex, and some things are beautiful, some things are ugly, and inside everyone's psyche and subconscious. And so we kind of want to create those worlds and sort of lend voice to that aspect of it.
To sort of show the whole spectrum, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and in this area, your office, we wanted this to be a very soothing, calming place, because this is a safe place. This is where, you can always return to if you're having a really hard time in one of the levels, and know that you're safe here.
So this is also like a hub world in addition
Exactly.
to being where they start off. Very cool.
So your new office is around here.
All right, and is there is this some kind of level select we're looking at right now, or is there one place to go?
There's one place to go.
Okay,
so
great.
You can see there's your name.
Oh, hey, you're a doctor.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're the newest neuroprober here. So.
Man, this hard years in med school finally paying off.
I know, right? Awesome. So this is the level select. So you can go in the handbook, and that has a lot of backstory, but don't worry about that for now. Although for anyone who wants to play this, who's watching, definitely check out the handbook. But to go to the level select, you can go to, so we have a lot of information here about things about trauma, things that happen in the game,
wow.
All of that. But
so what's sort of the purpose of this? To sort of just, I guess, build up the story world? Is this sort of to teach real world concepts? What we're just looking at?
Yeah. So you want to go to InterSim, just to get you started there, and then activate imprint. There you go, and then a door opened right to your right, I believe. If you back out a little bit.
B.
Yeah. There you go. There, and I can go through. So a lot of that is a combination of building out some of the backstory. So if people, they see what is this nostalgia lens I see mentioned here and there, you can learn a little bit more about that. But also, we do want to. This Inoculus is amazing, by the way.
Oh my lord!
It's There's a lot of areas where we're not yet sure if it's too much. I love it, but we're doing a lot of play tests now to see what the threshold is. If we don't want to make people nauseous. So
Viewers are asking, do players respond to the handbook?
Do they respond in which way?
Yeah, if you could elaborate a little bit on that question. Do players respond to the handbook?
I guess that's why I'm here. So, if I just talk about my troubles, you will be able to use it later to help with me. Procedure?
Seems hard to believe, but you're the experts.
So that's a little bit of optional backstory going into this client's mind, but that's okay. You can
always make a left trigger press motion to skip the instruction.
So this is a full level in and of itself, but also we have these additional guides, so that if this is the first time you're playing, you can learn a little bit more about what you're doing. If you played through the level a second time, you can turn all the guide stuff off and then just enjoy it kind of as a straight up level.
You'll find that every detail of the subconscious is trying to tell its story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really an optional feature to, again, just provide, optional backstory if you want to learn a little bit more about certain elements of the game. It's also there if you want to learn more about trauma. We deal with a lot of themes about psychological trauma, and so if you want to learn a little bit more about that, we do have some information about it. It really is just to kind of build out sort of areas of the game that you might be curious about that we don't explicitly mention anywhere else. It's also a refresher too, about gameplay stuff. So if you're in the middle of a level and you're like, oh man, how do I do this thing? Then you can always go to the handbook and it'll explain oh, this is how you do it. So.
Sure, yeah.
Typically there are about 10 of these memory photos found. You'll find that half of these photos present an actual moment related to your trauma. The other half tend to be false memories created by the client's conscious mind. It will ultimately be up to you to determine which are which. More on that later.
So in this area of the game, there aren't actually biofeedback responses happening because we don't want to throw you right into the thick of things. And we're kind of easing you into it. So if you're wondering like what's the biofeedback things like happening here, like this particular area is still sort of a safe zone.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really pleasant so far. So far, like, if I'd come totally to this game new, and you told me, oh, this is actually like a very terrifying horror game, I'd be like, really? I'll have to see it.
I've seen a lot of Let's Plays where people like they get here and they're just like, is this the right game? Is this like what's going on?
It's really pleasant, man. I'm like enjoying myself. Yeah.
So there's one more photo in here you need to find. But it appeared after the end of that last dialogue piece, so you may want to revisit an area you were.
While neural make an A button motion to engage with. Holding on to left trigger will allow you to move the item around to examine it further. When you are done, you can make an A motion again, and it will return to its natural position.
We'd often eat rabbit stew.
The most important thing
So you mentioned this works without the feedback sensor, and it just sort of plays as an adventure horror game. Are the biofeedback elements sort of just gone, or are they just scripted? I guess
They're completely gone, so
Okay.
you don't have any of the biofeedback responses if you don't play it with a sensor. We have experimented quite a bit with trying to figure out ways of approximating the biofeedback response by things like how frenetically you press the buttons or move the mouse or that kind of stuff. But we never really got it to feel right, and we felt that it just took away, so we don't have it in this version of the game. If we do ever get it to a point where we feel like it's close enough, we'll put it in there, but for now it's just sort of a straight up, it's kind of adventure game without it.
Oh, so we have a little bit of a turn here.
So there you can see your first response to the stress. So and pretty much in most areas of all the levels, you see the static, and the more stressed or scared or anxious you get, the more static there is. But if you calm down, the static will go away. And then in addition to the static, we throw additional responses on top of that, depending on where you are.
Static on television. That's the client's subconscious mind reacting to neural feelings, fear, stress, and anxiety. The subconscious doesn't take kindly to intrusion.
And so you were saying, like, this could theoretically work with any heartbeat monitor, right? So
In theory,
as long as it can somehow interact with your PC, I guess.
the biggest challenge is getting it to talk to the game, and so like some heart rate monitors are very easy, where they just kind of we can have Unity Engine kind of grab that data, integrate it with the game, but some you need an SDK to kind of unpackage, because especially from some of the more complex monitors, things that like get not only heart rate but like steps and all sorts of stuff, like then it's a lot more difficult, and so we have to actually work with the manufacturer to kind of figure out how can we interpret this data, and that's been a real challenge in creating this, is that a lot of the manufacturers didn't develop their devices to necessarily work with like desktop and laptop computers. They created them to work with mobile, and so even though it's technically completely feasible to have that data kind of be transferred over to like a PC, it's just not really accessible right out of the box. So that's where a lot of the challenge in the development has happened. So there's things like we really want to support Fitbit, we really want to support Apple Watch. It's just taking a little longer to kind of figure out how to get that to reliably work, and so we're working on it. But
That's interesting.
it takes a while, yeah.
Just one
Yeah,
more
'cause it
connection.
seems like if you can get that to work, the barrier of entry
Why am I
to
so
be able
stressed?
to play with this
Exactly.
feature is so much lower, right? Because
Exactly.
Spooky. Our audience
Those are
asks,
lying around for some
what
people.
are plans for future development or updates?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're still working on the Xbox One and Oculus Rift version, and those will be coming out in early 2016. I love this area. This area in Oculus, by the way, is awesome too.
I feel like all areas in Oculus are
That's true. Yeah,
because it's Oculus.
that's
but
true.
This is particularly awesome.
You have to calm down.
Wow.
You gotta take
Oh my god.
Oh god. You gotta come to. Oh no.
I don't like this.
Look, the stack's getting worse, Mama.
But yeah, in addition to the other platforms, we also want to expand the content as well, and there's currently the 3 levels in there. Each level is a different trauma story, and there's so many stories that can be told that we really want to get out there. So a lot just depends on how launch does to make sure that we have the resources that we need to create more content. So as soon as we feel like, if and when we have enough resources to do it, we'll let everyone know. But a lot of people say like we love the game, but it's too short. We totally hear you, and we want it to be longer too. But it takes time and resources to make happen. So we're working on both.
Yeah, okay. I guess that would maybe necessarily involve you expanding the size of the company a little bit, right? Hiring more people or something like that.
Yeah, or something like that. It gets
Sure.
When you get into all of that, it gets very complicated very quickly. But yeah.
Real quick,
Remember when I mentioned that the client's subconsciousness can see
That's a great question. So for the Rift, we're actually not doing a direct port and then we're done. We're adapting it basically. So there are some things that will be changed to be optimized for the virtual reality experience, both to really leverage sort of the unique features of that platform and really kind of enhance the immersion, and also to minimize the areas that will make you barf. So there will be some stuff that's slightly different, even though it'll still have the same spirit of the game that we're playing right now.
The bread spirit.
That's interesting. Real quick, is there any way we could turn down the mix of the vocals, or just turn them off and have the subtitles up?
The vocals, I don't know if we can turn those
Okay, that's cool.
off. But
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's fine then.
Oh, it's a bridge.
Seems
How
safe.
staticky does it get? Like, ever engulf the screen, or?
Yeah, it can get pretty bad.
I'm just wondering how far
Yeah.
down. she's
Well,
going.
and the other thing that we can do if you want is there's an optional fear HUD element that we can turn on, so you can see a little indicator that shows as well.
I don't feel
So if you guys want to turn that on, it kind of does a better, well, not a better job, but just it's a more direct way of seeing
Yeah,
the response.
that actually might be kind of interesting, just for the sake of the
Yes.
viewers. They can
Good.
see.
Yeah.
options.
Just to see.
And then go to Fear UI at the very bottom. There you go. And then just, oops.
Gotta
Slightly
move
up.
up. Yeah.
There you go.
On. All right.
And then back.
Yeah. You can just press B. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so we have a little heart up there in the left corner.
And
So-
then it'll change color depending on how you're doing. It'll pulse more quickly if you're really
Ooh.
stressed.
So those of you watching at home can
You're getting stressed, Momo. Come on, you got this. If you look away from the screen, you can see we're all here with you.
oh no.
Is this the same room?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think you're backtracking a little bit. Go towards the light.
You gotta calm down so you can see the way.
What is this?
It's ahead, let's go. Just because.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's a stress management tip we offer.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So the advice up there was just sit back and give yourself a small smile. Might help you relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you said this was your thesis when you were studying here, right?
Correct.
Was this like something that you've sort of been thinking of doing for a while before then? Like, what prompted you to?
Yeah,
do
you
that
said-
as a
Yeah.
thesis?
I don't know about like the
what
initial
doing a
inception.
thesis is like, but
Sure, yeah. No, thesis is awesome because it's a whole year to just work on your dream project, basically, if you want, and of course, who doesn't want to do that? So there's a piece of bread in there that you should
Yeah, I
be able to
think it
pick up.
by who?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I think if you go back, the bread was on the floor.
Yeah. So going into my thesis, I knew I wanted to make a game that was both entertaining but also gave back to players. That's really what I came to grad school to focus
That
on.
was right behind you.
Yeah,
Looks
there
like-
it is.
yeah.
Looks like a giant piece of cornbread, kind of.
hungry now.
I know.
Floor
I
bread.
have to taste the bread.
Also, sorry, I'm just gonna very quickly cut in because we didn't really acknowledge it, but we just got a new donation. So thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Woo! Yes. Good cause. So I'm sorry. Are you talking about pitching your thesis, right?
Yeah, so I want to make a game that gave back, because that's what I really wanted to focus on. I wanted to make a game that used biofeedback. It was something I worked on a little bit my first year as a grad student here, and I wanted to explore it further. And then I really wanted to make a horror game because I love the horror aesthetic, and I hadn't had a chance to really make a horror game yet in my career. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna find a way to do it. So it's sort of like these three things kind of jammed together, and out of that is really kind of where Nevermind started to